Hello and welcome to tonight's webinar, Book Creator in Special Education. I am so excited to have you join us today, whether you're with us live or watching the recording of this webinar on YouTube. We are going to talk today about all things book creator and special education. So lots of tips and strategies that you can tailor to your group of students. I want to make sure that you can see my screen and hear me clearly. So if you're joining live today, you should see the Go To Webinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. If it went away for some reason, it's usually a little orange arrow that makes it smaller and larger. So you can go ahead and use the questions box. So there's a questions area on the Go To Webinar control panel. Use that area to say hello, say your name, where you're from today, and let me know that you can hear me and see my screen as we get ready to jump in. Welcome, Debbie from Perth, Australia. Welcome, Marcy. So glad that you're joining us live today. So if you can find that question box and you want to say hello and where you're from, we'll give some shout outs to get us started. Welcome, John from Ohio, and Shelly from Quebec, Wendy from Jersey City. Hi, Wendy. I'm in Jersey City too today. Excited to be with you all from home today to talk about book creator in special education. Karen from Virginia and Pauline from Ontario. So many folks with us today. So that question area where you're plugging in your name. That's a great spot as we go through tonight, if you're joining live, to put in any questions that you have. Remember, as we go through tonight, that this is going to be recorded. We're recording right now, and it'll go up on Book Creator's YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch later and share with other folks. And of course, if you're watching the recorded version, you can always send your questions along to the Book Creator team as you are thinking of things that you are curious about. Well, I am so excited that you're joining us for number 10 in the Book Creator Summer Webinar Series. If we haven't connected before, I am just so pumped up that you are here tonight. My name is Monica Burns. I am a former New York City public school teacher and a book creator ambassador. We are going to talk today about all things book creator, and I am just so pumped that you are joining here with us today. So if you are snapping along, you've got some ideas that are popping up as we're going through, make sure to tag me at Class Tech Tips or tag a book creator so that they can know about all the things you are excited about. So let's go through our quick agenda for today. You can see that I am playing double duty today as host and facilitator. So I've got my slides on the left-hand side of the screen, and I'm going to take you out to a demo of Book Creator as we go through today. But we are going to start off with a quick overview of Book Creator so that you can get a feel for the tool. We'll talk about some of the spotlight features that are important to think about in a special education classroom for both consumers, so students as readers and listeners, and viewers as books that other people create, as well as creators. We'll talk a little bit about student voice and choice, ways that you can differentiate and how Book Creator is set up for differentiation, and how the simplicity of the features within this powerful tool can make it something really special for your classroom. And even though we've got that question box up this whole time, so you're welcome to put in questions as we go through tonight, you are also welcome to save your questions towards the end if that feels better for you. We'll have some time at the very end tonight tonight for a Q&A. So let's take a moment to chat. I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and what you've done with Book Creator in the past. Go ahead and use that same question box, the same question area where you said hello and where you're from, to share a little bit about how familiar you are with Book Creator. So how familiar are you with Book Creator? Are you a pro? Have you used this fantastic open-ended creation tool lots and lots of times? Are you totally new and just this topic caught your attention tonight? Go ahead and share in the question box so that we can all get a little bit of a feel for where you're at when it comes to how familiar you are with Book Creator. Let's see here. So it sounds like a few of you have used it a few times over the past few years. Some are basic beginners, so just getting started with Book Creator, somewhat familiar with Book Creator. So many different pieces, right, that we're going to talk about together tonight. And if you are someone who is totally new or pretty new to Book Creator, please know that there are some resources, not just on Book Creator's website, but on Book Creator's YouTube channel. So that if you want to get a closer look, go step by step through some of the features that we're going to go through together tonight, you will be able to access that recording right where you'll find this one as well. So glad to have so many folks here who've been using Book Creator in different ways over the course of the past few years, as well as some of you who are totally new. So let's go through a quick overview of Book Creator. Book Creator is an open-ended creation tool for iOS and for Chrome, so you can use it on multiple platforms. Tonight, I'm going to take you through Book Creator on my Chrome web browser on my MacBook, but you can use it in different ways depending on your device. So we'll go through some key features today, and I'll model for you on my Chrome web browser. With Book Creator, students and teachers can create and publish books. So it really gives you the option as a teacher to make resources to share with students and to support students as they take on that creation role. Book Creator is super simple, allows you to make interactive pages with voice, text, video, images, and more. So lots of different features you'll see tonight that as we go through, I'm going to show off a few different features and how they connect to supporting students. So you'll have a feel for all of the above when it comes to the different multimedia features within Book Creator. Students of all ages can use Book Creator, whether you are sitting side by side or in a small group supporting students using Book Creator in blended learning station rotations, which is something I've done side by side with elementary school students. You are sending students out to work independently at different levels. So many ways that kids can use Book Creator in the classroom. Now, Book Creator also gives you the opportunity to have teachers create libraries for students so that you can have a library for an individual class or for a certain group of students, invite them in with a code, and they can create books that you can in real time. So you'll hear me mention this feature as we go through about the opportunity to have a library set up for your one group of students or multiple groups of students. So Book Creator is an open-ended creation tool, meaning you can adventure and take it in lots of different directions in your classroom. Creation of books and publishing of books can happen by both students and teachers. The pages that you and students can make are interactive with voice, text, video, images, and more. Students of all ages can use Book Creator, and teachers can create libraries for students. So there are just so many ways to use Book Creator in all different subject areas and grade levels: digital portfolios, poetry books, step-by-step guides, science reports, learning journals, comics, you name it. And if you've joined any of the other Book Creator webinars this summer, checked out their YouTube channel or you've taken a look at any of the ebooks with project ideas and lesson ideas created by book creator ambassadors, you know that there are so many ways that you can take book creator and run with it in your classroom. And I'll point out some of those extra resources as we go through tonight. But I hope that if you have some ideas that you want to share, you're either snapping a picture, sending out a tweet, or sharing in the question box in that GoToWebinar control panel. So tonight we are talking about book creators specifically in special education classrooms or education learning environments, whether you are working in a classroom with many students, working one-on-one with students. We'll look at some key features for creators and consumers to consider when they are creating books. So if you and your students are creating books for a specific group or specific population, things for you to consider from a creation standpoint to make sure the books you make are accessible for students, as well as what students as creators and consumers, right? So taking on kind of both of those realms, should think about when they are making books that are going to be something that goes out to that environment, or just some things to think about when they are making books themselves. We'll also talk about some options that you have as educators to differentiate learning experiences. So you might have a similar task we'll talk about during tonight's webinar that you differentiate for different groups of students, encouraging students to leverage the audio features to record their voice, or encouraging students to use voice text right from within Book Creator to create paragraphs and sentences that way. And we'll talk about some ways that you can make sure every student has an opportunity to share their learning, whether they decide to publish the books that they make for the whole world to see, or share with the students in their class. So lots of ways for kids to share their learning. So I'd love to hear from you in that same question box where you shared your name and where you're from and how familiar you are with Book Creator. How do you currently support students with special needs? Now, this could be with Book Creator. This could be with another favorite technology tool. This could be low tech or no tech support. I'd love to hear some of the ways you are currently supporting students with special needs, and you can go ahead and share those questions or share that, I should say, responses in the question box. So if you'd like to share, you can go ahead and put your responses in that question box, and I'll give some shout outs. Leslie shared how she supports students who are visually impaired by adapting curriculum with assistive technology. Susan shared about guided reading groups. Katie shared about lots of modifications. Luis Perez shared about creating visual schedules and stories. Awesome. Text to speech, utilizing voice typing tools. So lots of favorites coming in and different ways and strategies that you currently support students with special needs. So today, as we take a look at Book Creator, I am going to share some ideas and some examples and some awesome resources from Book Creator's blog for you. And then we are going to take a look as we go through at what this looks like in action. So if you would like to play along and try out some of the things that we do today, go ahead to app.bookcreator.com. That's where I will be in just a moment. I'm already signed in, and you'll see me in my ready to go new book in creation mode in just a moment. But if you would like to play along with us today, you can go to app.bookcreator.com. You'll see that it's set up right away. It'll prompt for student sign in. So you can click that gray button and toggle over to teacher sign in and sign in with your Google account, with Office 365, or sign in with your email. And so you'll see today that I will jump into one of my libraries and I will create a new book to take you through some of the activities that we'll take a look at today. So if you would like to participate, you of course can open up Book Creator by going to app.bookcreator.com and joining in and creating a book of your own. I put the link right there for you within our chat box, but you can see that I am here in my library, in my Book Creator library, and I am going to click on New Book. This is going to allow me to choose one of the different book shapes. I usually choose a landscape when doing a webinar or showing off Book Creator to a whole group because it will fill up my screen and give me lots of space to show you all the different features in Book Creator. So you are welcome to sign in and create a new book so that you can play along with me as I go through some of these features. So if you would like to, you can go to app.bookcreator.com. I also put the link in the Go to Webinar control panel. That way you can click on it, open up Book Creator, and as I show off some of these extra resources for you today, you can go ahead and play along with it when we spotlight some of these features. So I want to start off by giving a big shout out to a fantastic resource by Book Creator Ambassador Luis Perez. 5 easy accessibility tips for Book Creator authors is a terrific blog post that he created for Book Creator's blog, and I put the link right down there at the bottom. And super excited to have you joining us today as well as I'm peeking into the box, the question box where our shout outs were from earlier today. So I'm going to reference some of the features that are talked about in this blog post and plenty of extras as we go through today. And I'll share this link one more time and make sure that you have it easily for you to go ahead and check out if you want to dive into some of these ideas a little bit deeper. So the first thing that we're going to look at today is going to be the size and fonts that you can find right from within Book Reader. So a few things to consider when your students are creating books and making sure that they are accessible and ready for any audience of readers. You'll want to make sure that your text size is nice and big so that it fills up a good chunk of your screen so that it is easy for everyone to read. You may want to consider using sans serif fonts like Cabin or Lato or Noto Sans, and you'll see more of these options right from within Book Creator, and I'll show you where to find this in just a second. You will want to think about your text alignment so that it is easy to follow and easy to read on the screen. And you can also make sure that when you are emphasizing different words, that they are bold instead of all caps, and something to consider. And you can see more of the suggestions around text size and fonts in this awesome blog post with more resources. So let's take a look at some of the options that you can find when you jump into your text piece within Book Creator. So I'm going to show this to you live in just a moment, but I want to point out a few things on the screenshot that you see here. So you have the opportunity after you type in your text to click on the Eye Inspector button to change up the font size, the alignment, anything to do with the font as well. So everything you will find right here. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm right here within Book Creator, and I'm going to hit the plus sign where I have the opportunity to add text. Now, a few things to point out here that may be useful for you and your students. When I type in here, I'm going to put in my daily journal, putting in my text right here. Now, although I can place emphasis on certain words right here, highlighting and clicking bold or underline or italicize, I also have the opportunity to do voice to text right here too. So I can type in like you just saw me do here, or I can use voice to text to add to my page. And I'll show this off to you as we go through, but want to make sure you notice this right here. Once I have my text, I can click done. Now, this right here may be good to go for your book. However, I want to show off some of the options that you have right from within here. So I'm going to click and make sure that my text is highlighted in blue. And then I'm going to click on the Eye Inspector button. This is where you can see all of your options for the text. So you can increase the size of your text. And if you see that it looks a little funny in your text box, you can spread it out so it fills up the whole page. Then you can choose the alignment. Maybe you want it centered, left, right, or justified. Having it all the way to the left aligns your text up nicely depending on where you place it on the page. I'm going to hit the inspector button again and find where my font options are. So I can choose any of the fonts that you can see here, but you know that the handwriting fonts are going to be a little bit more challenging for students. So you may decide that you want all of your students, when they are creating, to work with one particular sans serif font. So you might have everyone use a particular font and have that as an expectation for your group of students as creators, or you may decide that you want students to use the open dyslexic font. Now, if you take a look at this font here on the screen, you'll notice that it weights the letters down. Now, this can be useful for certain groups of students. So this is a nice norm to have in your classroom if you're looking to make books that are going to be friendly for all students. So you can pick and choose the font here. You also have the option to choose colors. You may know that certain colors resonate really well with a particular group of students that you're working with, or there's colors that you want to stay away from. So you have the option to choose colors right from within here as well. So the opportunity to place emphasis on certain words through bold, italics, or underline is all here, along with the font and the color and the sizing right from within this inspector button. So I'd love for you, if you have a page, now that you've seen me try it out, to add text to your page and modify the text by using that Eye Inspector button. So if you have Book Creator open just like I did here, you'll hit the plus sign, you'll go to Add Text. Once you've added your text to the page and click on it so it's blue all around it, you can hit the inspector button and change the font, change the color, change the sizing, and the alignment all from right within here in the inspector panel. So the voice to text feature is available right from within your text box. So you'll see it here when you go to add text. A question came in about that. You can hit the text here and you'll see the button right here that will allow you to use the microphone on your device to add text to the page this way too. So take a moment to try out this feature, adding text to the page, tapping it so that it's blue all around, your blue box is ready, and then hitting the Eye Inspector button. As you go ahead and add text to your page, I'll take a peek to see if there's any other questions that came through. All right, well, you can keep adding text to your page and changing up some of the sizing and the font and getting a feel for your different options there. The next piece to think about is including alt text or alternative text to add as a description to pictures. Adding clear, concise descriptions of pictures makes it available for someone to read and understand what pictures are present on the page when they are in guided access mode, when they are moving through a book and they are going to tap and see what a picture is showing them through a text description. So how does this work? Well, you can add a picture to the page using the plus sign and adding a picture of your own or a picture that you've searched for. Once you have your picture, just like we highlighted the daily journal title on our page, you can tap on the picture so it's blue all around and then hit the inspector button to go ahead and add that alternative text for accessibility right from within Book Creator. So go ahead now if you want to play along. You can watch me as I try it out, but let's go ahead now to this cover page and add a picture and add some alt text. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign. I'm going to import an image. So I can type in flowers again, or I could pick up a picture from my computer by doing the files button here or connecting to my Google Drive. I'm going to go ahead and add this to the page. Now it's going to take up my whole page when it first pops on, this nice big beautiful flower. So when I tap on it, I can grab it in by the corner, change the size, or even move it in one direction or another. Now, when I click on this element on the page, it has blue all around it, and I can hit the inspector button. So when I clicked on my text before and hit inspect, right, that was going to let me change the font and the color and the sizing. Here it's going to let me add a link. So if I wanted to hyperlink this picture or add alternative text to describe this image. So I could type in large pink flower and add this as the alt text, alternative text for that accessibility for this picture. So when I tap out, it's going to add this alt text to my picture. So why don't you go ahead and try this, add an image to your page, add that extra accessibility piece, that alt text to describe your picture. And while you do that, I'll take a look to see if any questions popped in. Oh, good. I'm glad that Leslie is super excited about the alt text option. This is something that's a great best practice for you as a creator, especially if you're creating books for other people to consume or your students are creating books that they want to be accessible for everyone to read. So remember, you're going to add your picture, plus sign, import, whether you search for an image or add one from your computer. Once you've got it, you're going to click so that it's blue all around, hit the inspector button, and add your description right there. Awesome. So you can go ahead and add an image to your page. You'll have that there to go ahead and play around with, and I'm going to keep moving through some other features for you to consider. Now you can also add links to your page and use descriptive phrases. So creating hyperlinks could include that click on a picture to go someplace else, but in the wonderful blog post by book creator ambassador, Dr. Luis Perez, you can see some of his suggestions, and this is one of them that I want to make sure we give a shout out to. So when you are creating hyperlinks that take someone out to another resource, including a full sentence or description beyond just a click here, can help someone understand what they're going to find when they do click on something. So how does this work? Well, you can use the same text box that we did before, add your text in, and when you highlight that text, you can then add a link to go along with it. So let's go ahead and try this out so you can see it in action. And of course, if you have questions as we're doing this, you can go ahead and add them in that question box. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new page. I'm going to go to my import. I'm going to search for a picture just like in my example of polar bears. I'm going to add my polar bear picture to the page. And underneath it, so I'm going to go ahead and move it right here. Underneath it, I'm going to hit the plus sign and add text. Now here I'm going to show off to you this voice to text feature in addition to the hyperlink one. So we're going to kind of do a combo here so you can get a feel for both. So I might say something like, learn more about polar bears on this website. pretty good there. So learn more about polar bears on this website. Now I can highlight this and link the whole text. And now I can have this go to the same website I was talking about before, polarbearsinternational.org. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in, polarbearsinternational.org. Hit save, and now when I hit done, it's going to take this and link the whole text. Now, as a reminder of one of the other features I showed before, I can go to my inspector button, make this even bigger if I want it to be nice and easy for someone to click on. I have my alignment options, and I'm going to stick with my left align. I can choose any font here that I want will stay consistent with my Open Dyslexic font, and I can place this here right on the page. So now that I went ahead and added a link, I'm going to encourage you to try adding some text and adding that hyperlink with a nice description as well. And if you have questions, you can go ahead and add them in here so that I can take a peek at the same time. Great. So remember that as you are going through, you're going to add your text, you're going to highlight it. Maybe you use this as an opportunity to try that voice to text feature I modeled too. So remember, we have our text there. If I double click, it puts me back into edit mode. I can highlight the whole thing and add my link right here. Once I have that, I can play around and change up the font and the sizing by clicking on the inspector button. Awesome. So you can keep moving through as you are working here. And if you have questions that pop up while you're trying this out, don't forget to use that question box in the GoToWebinar control panel. Let's keep moving through. You can also use audio in your book, adding narration to any page that has text or a page that might not have text. You can keep that recording button right next to the text so someone can see what it is that you have written. They can read it in paragraph format, or they can have the option to press and hear your recording. So you can see what it looks like here on this page. So here's my 2 sentences. Today I read a book where the main character starts their first day at a new school. They have a wonderful day and make many new friends. Then I can use the record feature to record my voice speaking and saying this paragraph so that someone can read it or they can listen to my voice. So as a creator, if you are making books for students, this is a great option. Or for students as creators, they might decide to add narration to their page. Let's take a look at how this could work. So I'm going to go to my plus sign here and I'm going to add text. Of course, I could do a voice to text here, but I'm just going to type in for the sake of our demo for today. So today I read a book where the main character started at a new school. So I'll put in just my 1 sentence here. I can hit done, do some of my same best practice with my inspector button from before, making my text larger, choosing a friendly font for students, and placing this right here on the page. Once I have my text, I can add that accompanying narration by hitting the plus sign, going to record, and recording my voice. Today, I read a book where the main character started at a new school. I'm going to stop my recording, and I'm going to use this one and place it here on the page. I can even make it nice and large, but putting it right next to the text is a good best practice so that someone knows they have an option for how they want to interact with the writing on the page. So go ahead now if you'd like to try adding a recording to your page. I'll try and be quiet for a moment if you want to record your voice. And at the same time, I'll take a peek to see if any other questions came in. Awesome. Luis Perez giving us some extra tips in the question box. I want to make sure to give a shout out to. He's the awesome book creator, ambassador, and author of the blog post that you've seen me reference already today. He shared that audio is a great UDL practice for multiple means of representation. So something important to think about when using audio for directions so that students can both read and listen. So thank you for sharing that as well. So really great to consider. Sue talked about the length of recording time. You're going to want to make sure that your recordings are concise, short, and sweet. If you have a lot to say, or your students are going to have a lot of text and then accompanying narration on the page, you're going to want to have them break it up so it goes over the course of multiple pages. One thing also to mention is that if you do have a recording file already, so you've already recorded maybe your voice reading something else, or just have a audio recording that you want to add to a page, you can actually import that. If it's saved on your computer, instead of importing a picture file, you could import that as an MP3 file, and it'll pop up with a button that looks just like this one. So a great way to repurpose any recordings that you may already have. Now let's keep moving through. One other tip from the awesome blog post I referenced was to spread out text and images on multiple pages. Make sure your text is large and easy to read and spaced out through the book. So as you go through the book, you might decide that instead of having short sentences that are small up in the corner, or many of them on one page, you'll decide to make them larger, spread them out page by page so that students can have more to work with on one page in terms of the spacing. So spreading it out over multiple pages is a great option for making your books friendly for all students. And so just to give you this link again, you go to Book Creator's blog, you can use the search bar up in the top to search for this awesome blog post. I'm also going to make sure that it goes out when I follow up with the YouTube recording so that you can click and find more details in this fantastic blog post. So let's keep going with some more things to consider. But as we pause for a moment, go ahead in that question box. Are there any features that we've looked at so far that grab your attention? As you're playing along with Book Creator, are there any features that really grab your attention that you say, ooh, I didn't know about this, or ooh, I didn't think about this before, or this is one I'm definitely going to use with your students? Go ahead and share that in the question box, and I'll give some shout outs as we get ready to move to a few more tips. John mentioned the audio recording button. Absolutely, super versatile. You can use it in lots of different ways to support students in so many ways. Katie mentioned the ability to embed links. Yep, a great way to really customize where the text can take students. I'm glad to know that you now know about the alt text features, Pauline, too. So that's something that you'll want to consider. And I know I'm showing off some of these features, and a couple of questions came through about iPads and what you can do on iPads. You'll see these features on iPads as well. And so you'll want to kind of make sure that as you're thinking about what works best for your students, that's something that you are thinking about, what kind of device they're on and where they're going to be reading it as well. Let's keep moving through a few more things to consider. So if you are using Book Creator to support differentiation in your classroom, you've already seen that you can take advantage of some of the different features. You might have some students who are more comfortable using voice to text, others that are more comfortable recording their voice as a recording, or more comfortable typing out sentences. So with a tool that is open-ended like Book Creator, it's really a choose your own adventure scenario. You can create tiered tasks for students. You can model different ways to share information. So you might show them how a page can communicate information in different ways and provide choice for students in how they want to share what they have learned. So for example, you might have students that are creating a book with images, adding in the alt text to describe their pictures, but then also adding audio recordings on each page that describe their thinking, that share information, or that provide that narration that we talked about. You might also give students a choice to annotate images, to provide illustrations to show off what they know. So if you are using a touch screen with students, they might use their finger to draw on the screen. They might use a keyword search to find emojis and add that to their page. So lots of ways to give students multiple multiple choices and multiple opportunities to show off what they've learned and to demonstrate their understanding. Now, if you haven't seen some of the new features within Book Creator that was released this summer, like the auto draw component or the use of emojis, these are some things that might help your students show off what they've learned in different ways. So giving them a choice to describe their thinking about a new topic or to show their learning and share with illustrations or with emojis, as well as with text or with audio recordings. These are all things that you can incorporate into the activities that you design for students. Now, one other feature that goes along with some of the things that we've looked at today is the Read to Me option. Read to Me is built into Book Creator on all platforms, whether you're using iPad or Chrome, and students can play any book to hear it read aloud. So this is great if they're creating and know that their book's going to be read aloud to someone else with the Read to Me feature, or if they are reading someone's book and they want to turn on that Read to Me feature, they have the option. So how does it work? Well, when your book is in play mode or ready to consume mode, so outside of the edit mode, but in preview mode or ready to share, you'll see this Read to Me button in the upper left-hand corner. When you click on it, it will play for you and highlight the words as you go along. So this is something that your students can use as they are reviewing their own work. So checking to make sure their sentences are clear, that they make sense. They can listen to their book read aloud for them. It's a great strategy for students who are editing or revising their work. It's also something that they can use when taking a look at someone else's book. So let's go ahead here. You see that I have this sentence here on the page. I can go to play or preview mode. You'll see my two pages side by side, and then I can go to Read to Me. You'll also notice that in the settings here, I have the opportunity to change the voice. There are a lot of different options for the voices, as well as whether or not you want the words highlighted, whether or not you want the multimedia to page, or if you want a slow multimedia to play, or if you want to slow down the speed. You can also turn on and off whether or not pages turn automatically. So it just depends on what kind of support you want your readers to have. So if we go to Read to Me.
Learn more about polar bears on this website. Today I read a book where the main characters start.
So you can see here that it's moving what might be a little fast for me, so I can slow it down. I can also change the voice if I want to as well. So you can see there are a lot of different options, even just for the English language, as well as in multiple language support for your students. So that Read to Me feature is one that you'll definitely want to explore if it's new to you. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some ways that you could imagine using Book Creator with your students this school year? Some folks are just starting off their school year this month or are in the middle of their school year right now, but I'd love to hear from you. So you can go ahead in that question box and share some of the ways that you plan on using Book Creator, some ideas that might have come up as you've gone through today. I'll give some shout outs to those ideas as well as I'll take a look at any of your questions because we're almost ready to finish up with some Q&A. Pauline loves the use of emojis and the ability to access emojis in Book Creator. Super excited to see that. So that's definitely something that you can leverage this year. Having the ability to illustrate student poetry and have that play back on a smartboard during open house night. What a fantastic idea. That's awesome. using the hyperlinks, definitely. So that's something that you can add in. Having students make an all about me book on the second day of school. Love that. What a great way for them to tell a little bit about themselves and even have a product that they can share or look back on as the year progresses. So many great ideas coming through. As we get ready to finish up tonight, I want to make sure you know that Book Creator has a free Facebook group for book creator teachers. All you have to do is head over to Facebook and search for Book Creator Teachers at the top of your Facebook page. You'll find their awesome book creator group where you can join in and post and share, or just sit back and read and see what other people are up to. Book Creator also has a free newsletter and a support page, as well as lots of free ebooks covering ideas like the ones we talked about today, and plenty more that you may want to take a peek at. I think you'll really love the new book by Rosie McQuillan, Using Book Creator for Differentiating Learning. So lots of great ideas within this book that I think you'll want to explore too. So we have some time, just a few moments now, for any extra questions that are coming in. It's a great opportunity for you to post a question, but of course, if you think of something a little bit later after we finish up tonight, you can always send a message to the folks at Book Creator or tag me on social so that I can see any other questions that are popping up. So a question came in about adding hyperlinks. So all you have to do is highlight the text when you're in that edit mode, and you can add in a website that you want to link to. If you do want to publish a library, so I see a question came in about that, you can then share the link with families so that students can see what their peers have created, and families can see what everyone in a class has created too. So thank you all so much for joining in what is number 10. Somehow we've made it through all of these summer webinars in the Book Creator Free Summer Webinar Series. This one will be posted very shortly on Book Creator's YouTube channel, and you can find the other 9 of them already up there for you to watch at any time. I'm so glad that you were able to join us, those of you live, and I'm so glad that those of you watching the recording were able to carve out some time for this special Book Creator webinar. Thank you so much for joining, and for those of you starting school this week, I hope you have a wonderful school year.